I'm a huge
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the following.
Oh, really?
They actually I'm from where you guys film, like Westchester.
Okay.
I'm so glad they didn't kill off your character.
Me
Are
too.
you so I don't know, can you offer any spoilers for the new season? Is he still alive, the killer?
Is he still alive? Well, I can't ruin that. What I can say about the second season is that we sort of take a different approach, and the second season picks up about a year after the first season is done. So the events, Joe Carroll and Ryan Hardy, that sort of fight, and that this sort of confrontation, the second season picks up about a year after that. And so the characters have had a little time to breathe, and the repercussions of, because Ryan and Mike basically tortured, killed, and kidnapped a follower at the end of the first season, and there's serious repercussions from that. I mean, Mike is basically is suspended essentially from the FBI, so he's dealing with that, and emotionally he's dealing from losing his partner, Deborah Parker. So there's a lot of pent up stuff with all these characters, and so when we pick up a year later, you find these characters in sort of a mess. Everyone's pretty emotionally messed up from the events of the cult, basically.
Yeah. And I guess my main question is, I mean, every episode it just builds and builds, and you just keep wondering when does it stop? Like, it's a certain point you can just keep killing people. Like, would you say in the second season the momentum keeps steady uphill that you had going?
Unbelievably, yes. I mean, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, so the first season, to me, it could have been just a one-season show because it was a thriller like that, and it built so well, and then the finale sort of was so complete. But Kevin Williamson and the team of writers have created, honestly, as intense, if not more intense, second season so far. And we're only on the 5th episode, but it's crazy. And the direction that it goes, again, I can't spoil anything, but the direction that it goes, I think, will surprise people.
Well, it always does.
It does, but even where it goes, how we find our way back into this sort of serial killer FBI pursuit is not really what I expected in a good way. So yeah, the tension and the thrills are absolutely there, just as much as the first season.
That's great. I don't know, Kevin. So yeah, it ended with them both being stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
Is he Kevin Bacon? Is he still? Do they survive?
Yeah. I mean, you need, and Ryan Hardy, I think it's pretty safe to say, will survive. Kevin is the main character of the show, along with Joe Carroll. But again, Ryan Hardy, is stabbed, and the woman he loves is in peril at the end of the first season. So yeah, that character is tortured emotionally, physically, spiritually, in every way, and that continues on to the second season. Again, all these characters bring everything that happened to them during the first season back into the second season. So it's a pretty emotional right from the get-go.
I guess what was your favorite scene that you were acted in the first season?
My favorite sequence and my favorite episode that I got to do was, I call it the Fight Club episode, where Roderick kidnaps me and beats the crap out of me. I was afraid I was going to die in that episode, so I figured I better go out big. And it was probably the most difficult sequence that I had to shoot last season. Just, it was physically grueling. But I think it's the reason I like that episode is it's the moment where I think Ryan accepts Mike, because Mike sacrificed himself for Claire, the woman he loves, and I think that's that first moment where Ryan sort of thinks that Mike is okay. Yeah. There's more than meets the eye with Mike, and I think the audience gets to see that too. Gets to see sort of how tough he is. He was kind of like that goofy puppy dog after Ryan at the beginning, and I think after that moment, it solidifies that there's a lot more going on with Mike, and I think from that point on, Kevin Williamson and the writers sort of played towards that, and that continues in the second season. Mike is in a really dark place, and it's fun to play that stuff. Yeah. I like the humor and the chemistry that I have, but it's nice to sort of push him over the edge a little bit, because a case like this, seeing this kind of violence would do that to people, I think it's realistic.
Yeah. In this show, I mean, you get the scripts every week. Is it do you sort of have an inkling as to what's going to happen, or is it every week you're just nervous your character is going to be killed off?
No, we really don't know. I mean, they tell if there's story-wise something that you have to prepare for, there's a big fight sequence, or we're going to do a chase in Soho, so get ready for that kind of stuff. But for them, honestly, we don't really know. We were warned before we started shooting the first season. We were all in a room, and the producers were like, just some people in this room will die. You won't make it through the first season. Please don't take it personally. It's not that we don't like your performance or your character, but that's the kind of show that we're making. So there's always that fear that it might be your last episode.
Is it nerve-wracking?
Always, yeah, it is. But I've come to accept that, and it's also the reason I like this show is because when we're creeping around dark hallways, the audience, and if you're usually on a traditional television series, the main cast is safe. Right. So if we're acting scared, the audience is like, you're not going to die. This happens every episode. Why are you guys still afraid? Whereas on this show, it's a lot easier to portray that fear and the paranoia because you just might die, and the audience is with you in that journey. So it makes it much more realistic, and you don't have to push the boundaries so far for it to be believable.
You've had a lengthy career. I've followed you since the episode in Smallville, yeah. Iceman. I guess, what are you most proud of? Like that you've acted in. Which performance?
I did a movie. I portrayed a Canadian. He's a hero. He's an icon named Terry Fox. And Americans don't really know him, but he was a young guy. He passed away, but I think it was around 25 years ago, he lost his leg to cancer and he ran across Canada to raise money for cancer research. And halfway through his run, he passed away. But he became this incredible Canadian icon. And I grew up doing the Terry Fox run, and he was on our dollar coins. He's a big deal. And to portray someone that was that iconic and that heroic and that I looked up to as a kid was probably the most amazing performance I've had to do. And it's not necessarily the most known, but it was an emotional journey. I was given his personal journal that he wrote during the run from his family. Wow. So to get a glimpse inside his head. And he did an impossible thing. He ran a marathon a day for 100 days or something like that. And you talk to professional athletes that couldn't do that 3 days in a row. And he did it every day on one leg. So he was, there was something pushing him forward that wasn't physical. You know what I mean? He had this resolve and this drive that was superhuman. So that was an incredible role to sort of undertake.
Would you say that's the most influential, role that's influenced you the most as an actor? Which, if not, which?
I don't think that was the most influential role, but it was the most important. I think the thing that sort of sculpted me as an actor, or the part that I really, I guess, made me realize that I wanted to do this was I was probably 15 or 16, and I did a television movie where I played a young kid that was abandoned and was basically an orphan who was mute. And that was way outside my comfort zone as an actor, and it was something I'd never really experienced, and it really pushed my boundaries, and that was sort of the part that made me realize that I wanted to do this as a career. So
okay, I guess last question. Sorry, we'll wrap up. Who do you like working with the most? Would you say you have the most on-set chemistry with, or, offset on The Following?
On The Following? Oh, man, I like everybody on The Following. I mean, I'm lucky that the majority of my scenes are with Kevin Bacon, who is obviously... and we sort of had that chemistry from the get-go. It's not forced, it's not like two actors. He's just a genuinely nice guy, and I look up to him as an actor, and especially before, I always enjoyed his work, and now working with him, it's pretty amazing. So, I guess I really enjoy working with Kevin, but I also really enjoyed working with Annie Parise last year, who I worked with a lot. She was great. So, everybody on the show is a lot of fun to work with, to be honest, but I'll say Kevin because I get to work with him a ton.
Yeah. Okay, I guess, we're WhO, and on the scene with Shawn. He's great. Thank you very